What's up, everybody? I'm your man, Rob Westerman of GBP Daily. And before I introduce my guests, I just wanted to take a moment to honor the lives forever impacted by the events that we all know happened 20 years ago today. So, a day I'll never forget, among same with Zach, and my thoughts and prayers go out to those who lost their lives, their family members, everybody else impacted. So, anyways, joining me today is someone I've chatted back and forth with for quite a while. As we said a few seconds ago, on a few different Twitter accounts, Zach Jacobson. Zach, how we doing, man?
I'm great. I'm doing very well, and I also appreciate you taking the time to mention the 20-year anniversary at the start of this. That's yeah, I'm doing as well as I could be. It's nice for us to finally talk like this, because like you said, we've known each other for a while. We've been following each other for a long time, and through all the suspensions, we're here.
we keep finding each other back and back again, and yeah, you're back. You're always back. Second ago said you were born ready, and if they take you out, then there's no getting rid of you, whether it's good or bad. So good stuff. I said a second ago, I appreciate you coming on. Like you said, we've been chatting back and forth for, man, it's probably been 4 or 5 years now, and yeah, I just appreciate it. So to kick things off, I know everybody knows who you are, right?
Oh, I wouldn't go that far. I'm just a small, well, to quote Linkin Park, I'm just a crack in this castle of glass.
That's perfect. So whether they've seen you on Packer Report, Game On Wisconsin, for those 1 or 2 people that might not know you, could you give them a brief, wiki page summary about yourself?
Yeah, as you know, my name is Zach. I have a journalism degree. I love the Packers. I have been following the team. Okay, I wouldn't say following, but I became a fan, as much of a fan as a 4-year-old could be. You know, in 1999, that was when I really kind of I kind of noticed who the Packers were and stuff. And then over the years, my love for them kind of cultivated into this, just like a combination of this fandom, and also I really love writing, so I kind of pursued it, and I kind of combined those things, and now here I am. Yeah, got on Twitter January 2015. I built this audience, bunch of great people were following me, and then, as you know, the the day of reckoning happened in late 2019 when they suspended me. And also, as you know, I came back about 6 or 7 different times. I'm like Chucky, pretty much. I keep coming back.
Chucky or Michael Myers, one of those two. I would say, yeah, either or. Those guys never die, so that's a perfect, you know what I mean? So
yeah, Twitter probably like I told you before, they have my house bugged, I think. So yeah, now that I mentioned this, I'm probably going to be, spending the next couple days. Knock on wood.
Oh my God, I got you. I'm right there with you, and that's why I said before, I was like, my house may be bugged. I don't even want to mention your name in Twitter in the same thing, because I don't want you to get popped. And yeah, the Twitter police are literally everywhere. So no, that's great, man. Yeah. When's your birthday, by the way, if you don't mind me asking?
Valentine's Day, 1995.
Nice. So yeah, mine's October 1st. So you're a good 6, 7 months, 8 months older than I am. So perfect.
Consider yourself lucky.
Right?
Yeah, you're younger than me.
We're coming up on 30 years here in about 4 years. Isn't that nuts?
Wait, 30 years?
30 years of age.
Oh, right, us. Yeah. I was like, wait, didn't you just say you're like my age? I thought you meant you're coming up on 30.
We're already looking over the horizon here. So
yeah, I'm trying not to look over that hump into the 3rd decade of life. I want to enjoy everything the way it is right now.
Yeah, 24 is super young, but then we hop over 25, and it's like, okay, well, we're about there. I guess it is what it is.
Yeah, what the hell's up with that? Like, all of a sudden you're enjoying your youth and your prosperity, and then all of a sudden you hit 25 and it feels like you're 30 already.
Exactly. So to hop on some Packer topics here. Packers Saints tomorrow, just a little over 24 hours. What kind of game are we thinking? Low scoring, high scoring, blowout, nail biter? What are you thinking?
It's truly tough to say, because we know like a lot of people are forgetting about, the climate that is going to be in Jacksonville. It is going to be hot as hell, and people are projecting Alvin Kamara to get 30 touches. I don't think he'll come close to that number. They're going to want to rotate in that backfield to keep him fresh. It's only week 1.
Right.
And it's a long season ahead. They're not going to burn him out under the scorching Florida sun. So I think he's going to be a little tiny bit less of a factor than people are maybe accounting for. But, I think the Packers win one that's going to be relatively close. A lot of people are going to project a blowout just because you look at the Saints receivers, it's Ty Montgomery and Chris Hogan, a bunch of nobodies, but they have some
dogs on defense.
Yeah, I'm going to say his name wrong on purpose because it's kind of like a meme now between Janelle Mackey and Eli Berkovitz.
Oh, yeah.
Jameis Winston. They still have a guy who threw for over 5,100 yards in his last year in Tampa Bay. He's a turnover machine, but
he can sling it.
Yeah, he knows what he's doing. He's not going to be able to. He's not going to be afraid to press downfield. So I think the Packers win a close one, closer than a lot of people think.
Yep, I'm right there with you. I know, like you said, a lot of people predicting a blowout, which I'd love to see, but it's going to be super hot. It's just going to be kind of a tough, especially game 1. Defense could or could not be ready. Z obviously questionable. We'll get into that later. A lot of things kind of coming into play. Like you said, they're down a lot of key guys. I just saw yesterday Traquan Smith, somebody I didn't know of before this weekend. Obviously, their number 1 or 2 dude, he's gone. For wide receiver, Michael Thomas obviously gone. Ken Crawley's gone on the defensive side. But as we were just talking about, Alvin Kamara is playing. Last year, you saw him wreck, if you want to say. How do we stop or slow him down?
Well, the way you got to neutralize him is not to let him get outside. So, we saw it last year. He was getting outside. He broke, I think, 11 tackles en route to a touchdown. That was a disastrous play. I would like to think the Packers are more prepared to neutralize him this time around. But you have to be able to contain those edges because once he gets around the corner, he's gone. Yep. He's going to be tough to bring down. So that just places more dependency on Rashawn Gary and on Preston Smith. And kind of like how I think the Saints are going to do in the backfield, I think the Packers are going to have a little bit of a rotation on the edge. It's going to be Rashawn Gary and Preston Smith, but you're also going to see some Jonathan Garvin, some Chauncey Rivers, who I'm a big fan of.
Yeah, it's hot.
What was that?
It's hot, so they're going to be switching guys in. And
exactly. And Rashawn Gary, the question is with him right now, he's never played more than 44 snaps in a game in his career. He hasn't needed to because they've had Sedarius Smith out there every single game. So now that he's probably not going to be there, it's just a lot of dependency on those guys on the edge to be able to contain those edges and stop Kamara.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Fantasy-wise, the running backs are they're super valuable, always have been, and they always will. With the longer season, you're taking these dudes, especially these first few weeks, they're probably not going to be killing as far as points-wise and stuff because, like you said, 17 games regular season. They want to keep these guys fresh. And same with us, kind of the Aaron Jones, A.J. Dillon. I always thought maybe, especially these first, weeks 1 through 5, maybe like a 60%, 40%, 65, 35% Aaron Jones, A.J. Dillon, and then or even maybe like a 60, 30, 10% Colin Hill or Amari Rodgers in the backfield or even Randall Cobb if they're going to risk throwing him back there. But, yeah, split backfield, and I hope they take that seriously as far as the Saints because the less we see of Alvin Kamara, the better, at the end of the day.
Yeah, and see, the good thing is, too, about, with the Packers backfield situation, you have Aaron Jones, obviously, and A.J. Dillon, who's probably going to be your future back there. And then you have Kylan Hill infused into the rotation. So the beautiful thing here is that if there's anybody that is going to weaponize multiple backs like that, some even at the same time, like we saw Jones and Dillon on the field at the same time last year, it's Matt LaFleur. He has the genius to get a lot of these guys involved. So Kylan Hill, typically your third string running back, 7th round pick, probably not going to see a lot of time in his rookie season, but I think he's in a different situation. The Packers, and especially the Packers love splitting Aaron Jones out wide at receiver.
Yep.
So there's going to be a ton of reps for Kylan Hill, and there's going to be a lot of opportunities just for him to get involved in some capacity. Don't know what it is, but
so
yeah, definitely.
So I don't know if you're a betting guy. I'm not huge into it, but Packers at just -3.5. Kind of seems like a surefire bet. But as you know, and those guys in the betting world know, Vegas is more right than they are wrong. Are you a betting guy? And if so, what do you think about this -3.5? Is that legit? Is it game one? Is it all the above? What do you think?
I'm a betting guy in terms of like betting lunch with a coworker or something. Like I got a Cowboys fan coworker that, you know,
Jeez.
yeah. And I, you know, whenever the Packers play the Cowboys, which they have several times through the years, we always bet lunch on it. And, you know, typically he loses, but that's another story.
Free lunches over the years.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. I'm very full. But yeah, I'm not necessarily much of a betting guy, but I feel like that line is very generous for the Packers. You know, I don't know if Vegas, I mean, like you said, Vegas knows everything. Right? You know, those bastards are ahead of the curve. I don't know if they're taking into account some of the context, like, you know, like who Jameis Winston is, who the Saints have at left and right tackle. Like, I mean, they have Teron Armstead and Ryan Ramczyk. You know, those are two really good tackles.
In the league, probably. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And the Packers' ability to generate pass rush is what's going to probably affect this game and take some of those no-name receivers out of the equation. I mean, like nowadays in the NFL, you don't absolutely need one star-studded receiver or even a group of star-studded receivers. There are coaches like Matt LaFleur and like Sean Payton who has made a point to evolve over the years. Mm-hmm. They will be able to get the most out of whoever they have out there at receiver. So the Packers need to get home, not be lackadaisical in their approach, and they need to throw Winston off his rocker. They need to make him uncomfortable. Otherwise, he's going to sling it downfield and probably complete some big plays. So I don't know if Vegas is taking some of these things into account or really, you know, analyzing the contest, you know, to its fullest extent. So I feel like it's a little generous to the Packers. I would be comfortable taking that. Yes. You know, my not expert betting opinion, but you know, Vegas knows, I guess.
No, I'm right there with you. And the heat, obviously, as you said, is a huge factor. Maybe, you know, they're taking that into, you know, the equation. I know I saw reports. Was it legit that the Saints were doing all that, you know, research as far as traveling time and Rodgers' record in Florida? Was that legit? I didn't look too much into it because at first I thought it was kind of just, you know, hearsay and whatnot. But was that legit?
I think because the Saints did have a say in where it was, but I think it was the league's decision to move it to Florida of all places. It just depends on, like, you know, if it's going to be in Tampa Bay or it's going to be in Jacksonville or Miami or something like that. Then when it came down to those stadiums, then I think it was the Saints' call to be like, oh, well, you know what? You know, Packer fans don't like traveling to Jacksonville. Apparently, you know, the records indicate at least that they don't like traveling to Jacksonville. And Aaron Rodgers, something is a record in Jacksonville, whatever the hell it is.
Yep.
I think they took those things into account once the stadium situation kind of narrowed down to Florida. Yeah, you know, it would have been nice to have it in Dallas though.
I would have loved that. And right when that came out, I was like, sure, let's do it. And then at a concert or something, I don't know exactly what it was, and they didn't end up going there, obviously. But yeah, I mean, it's hot. It's in Jacksonville, but to all the respect to them, I can just respect the commitment of. It's a game of centimeters, inches, people say, and yeah, do those little things. Being hot, people traveling. I think it'll be. I don't know. LaFleur said that he wasn't seeing what he was looking or hoping to see as far as ticket sales. I think that was yesterday, but I don't know. Hopefully we show out, and I think we will ultimately.
Yeah, it's going to be a really hot one. I think, you know, as LaFleur said, he wants to make sure. I mean, there's no set amount of hydration that or water that he wants his players to intake, but he wants them to pee clear.
Yeah,
so that's that. Yeah, that tells you everything how they're approaching this.
Yep, makes complete sense. So another thing, the bummer of training camp and now this first week of practice, obviously, is Sedarius Smith and his back injury. As you talked about yesterday in your article for Packer Report, they're giving him all the way up to game time to prove whether or not he'll be able to play. What's your feeling about his chances, you know, of suiting up for tomorrow?
Well, I mean, you have to look at the Packers. I mean, they have this notorious tendency over the years to not play some of their players, if they're dealing with something, they won't, like, if they only practice once or even twice in a limited capacity leading up to that week and they miss that final Friday practice, I mean, that usually tells you a player is probably going to be inactive, but they're acknowledging the fact that it's a 17-game season, and if they have to rest Sedarius Smith for the sake of the long haul down the rest of the year, then, they're not going to be afraid to do it. They have full faith in Rashawn Gary. They know Preston Smith is hoping for a resurgence now that he's, paired up again with Joe Barry, a defensive coordinator. They have confidence in that room, even if Sedarius Smith can't go. So I don't think he plays. It's encouraging that they're giving him, those 48 hours from the time LaFleur said that up until, kickoff, 90 minutes before kickoff when inactives are announced. It's not encouraging, however, that his body didn't really respond well to that increased workload on Thursday. Like he had his practice load shifted up to 18 reps on Thursday, and Friday he sits out. So maybe it was, I want to say it was precautionary, but at the same time, LaFleur said that Smith was feeling something. So it's not a good sign, I would say, but at least they're giving him that window to kind of show like, hey, I'm good. I can be out there.
Yep. And I think it's a different thing with Z than it may be with, like, let's just say maybe Chan Sullivan. Maybe they just hold him out just because. But with Z, I'm sure he's in their ears saying, hey, give me up to game time to kind of either prove or let you know that I can play. But my gut feeling, like you said, with not practicing on Friday, that's kind of a, tell-all as far as if somebody's going to play or not. So I think they keep him out, and I'm cool with that. Although the Saints, as we talked about, have, the best tackle combo in the league, maybe it's Rashawn Gary, Preston Smith, and obviously Preston had that head laceration. I don't know if you know anything more about that, or if that was just a cut or what.
Yeah, it was a cut, but he got that all stitched up. He's good, and he was listed on the final injury report on Friday, but he didn't have a designation, so he's good to go.
Perfect. So speaking of that, is it Scary Gary time?
Scary Gary.
Scary Gary. Another thing you mentioned in your article, as you said a couple minutes ago, he hasn't played more than 44 snaps in a game. And with the heat beating factor, that kind of forces them to rotate those guys in. And if Z can't go, that's who my money's on, is Rashawn Gary, to just kind of wreak havoc and keep Jameis. That's how you pronounce his name, right?
Honestly, I don't even know anymore. I've said it. Yeah, I've said it wrong for so long that I don't even know the actual correct pronunciation.
No, my money's on Rashawn, and I'm excited. It's kind of a bittersweet. Obviously, Z, we want him in there. He plays inside out, and he just, although we didn't get a captain this year, LaFleur said yesterday, in his eyes, he's still a captain, and just having him out there kind of brings a different vibe. But at the same time, if he's not, that kind of lets Rashawn Gary, get those snaps that he hasn't gotten before, and really shows what he's all about.
Yeah, Mike Smith, I mean, he said, his position coach, he said that he has full faith in Rashawn. The whole coaching staff, defensive coaching staff at least, they believe in him.
Yep.
And I think sometimes that's all a player really needs to kind of like push him. And he has been remarkable in training camp this summer. Obviously he didn't play in the preseason, but he has been winning the bulk of his one-on-ones. He has just been a factor, and
yep.
Going into year 3, I mean, you're expecting him to finally take that leap. We saw, yeah, exactly. We saw from year 1 to year 2 just the kinds of strides he was making. His technique was just fortified. He was winning his matchups more so, not just with speed, which, coming out of Michigan, his main thing was like speed. He wasn't going to bull rush you.
Insane.
Yeah, for a guy that big, that 40 time, that's remarkable. Yep. And he added so many things to his arsenal as a pass rusher, where he was actually able to win a lot of his matchups with power, not just speed. So he's rounding himself out just as a player with his skill set. And if he's on the field for 35, 40 snaps, that's fine. The guys behind him, the Packers feel like they'll be able to get meaningful snaps from them as well. Preston Smith, he's going to be dropping into coverage as well. He won't be lined up out wide, covering on the boundary like he was against the Vikings last year. But
That's insane.
Yeah, that picture always makes me laugh.
Oh yeah.
But he'll be dropping into coverage. So that's going to open, some spots on the edge for Jonathan Garvin or Chauncey Rivers. They kept Rivers over Tipa Nalii on the 53-man roster because clearly he showed enough. I mean, he arrived at the team on August 5th.
Yep.
He was released the day before on August 4th, and then August 31st, he makes the 53-man roster. So that's a guy that a lot of people are probably sleeping on right now. But I mean, Joe Barry and Mike Smith, they'll be the first to tell you, that kid, he has it. He has that love for football, and as Mike Smith said, it means a lot to him. So that's, he's going to be seeing his snaps on Sunday.
What a crazy journey that is to get cut, obviously get signed again, brought on, and then to actually make the 53. I mean, clearly he was just going off.
Yeah, all within a month.
Yeah,
and he had that. He had his first sack in the finale against the Bills. Yep. So he's coming on.
He's ready to roll.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, and like you said with Rashawn, he's just been going, and they're not going against scrubs in the O-line. He's going up against Elton Jenkins and company and winning some battles. And yeah, I think he's one of the more exciting players, one of the more players that I'm excited to watch, along with like Darnell Savage, MVS, guys like that who have been around. I'm excited to watch Kevin King too. And I think I was watching your show the other day, and like you said, people are kind of going to maybe eat their words, is what you said. And I agree. I think he's going to, if he stays healthy, that's the only downfall for him.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. Eric Stokes is the shiny new toy, the first round pick. Everyone wants to see him in action. And I think at some point this season, he will supplant Kevin King as a starter. But if Kevin King gets back to that 2019 form where he was coming down with all kinds of interceptions and he was actually healthy, if he is healthy, then he will be good, and he will make it tough for the Packers to make that decision. I mean, knock on wood again, the only time that I feel like King will lose his job this season is if he's injured. If he has no choice but to be sidelined. I think he'll keep the reins on that number 2 cornerback job. Yeah, I mean, this is kind of like a prove it year for him. They gave him that 1-year, $6 million deal at the start of the year. And a lot of people thought he was gone after that NFC Championship game. They thought he was going to head off somewhere else, but the Packers gave him this one last opportunity to, hey, show us what you can do now. You're still the number 2 corner, even though we drafted Eric Stokes, who Eric Stokes is also going to be. He's going to be on the field. There's going to be formations where the Packers need to get both guys on the field. But yeah, they gave him this opportunity, and I feel like he's going to capitalize on it.
Yeah, I'm excited to watch him. Kind of a revenge year-ish. I know we had the bad game in the NFC Championship game, but that's a great combo to have as far as cornerbacks. I feel like a lot of teams in the league would die to have Jair and then King as their cornerback too. And then, teams like if Marshawn Lattimore, I saw that he was hurt this week. If he goes down, they'd love to have King out there. I mean, it just kind of depends on what their situation looks like and whatnot. So yeah, I'm also excited for King. I think he's going to play well, but it'll be kind of quiet. Because I think everybody's maybe afraid to hop on his train again and then something bad happen. Kind of the opposite of what happened with Demarius Randall. I feel like everybody was harping on him, and then he'd have an interception fall in his lap. And it's like, oh my gosh, of course he's the one to, be in the right place, right time. So
you can say that same exact thing about Clinton Diggs.
Oh yeah.
A lot of interceptions fell in his lap. I think there was one interception where I actually saw him jump in front of a guy and make a play on the ball, and it was that week 3 game 2018 against Washington. Yep. I specifically remember the play because I was like, what the hell? That's not normal.
Where did this come from? No, I get it. So I was watching you and Jen on Open Book the other day, and it kind of gave me the idea to do some rapid fire questioning. But before we get to that, I saw that you predicted the Packers to go 14-3. So I was curious as to what teams are the 3 losses to.
That's a good question. That is something I did not think about. Let me look at their schedule really fast.
Yeah, you're good. I did a little prediction the other day, and I was saying I did 13-4, and yeah, I don't know if you watch Aaron Nagler or whatnot on Packers Daily, but my schedule prediction was the same as his. So I'm eager.
Did you guys pick Did you guys pick them losing the same games?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yep. So I saw his, and then I came up with mine, and I don't want to sound too confident, but it was hard to find 4 losses on the schedule. I know they're playing, 10 teams that made the playoffs last year, a few of those with different quarterbacks, and obviously 2 of those games are against the Bears, who are trash. So it's just one of those things where I saw his predictions, and it was 49ers, Chiefs, Ravens, and at the Vikings, their first matchup. And when I saw those, and that was in my mind, I kind of had a hard time going away from those because it was just kind of a justifiable thing for me each game, obviously in San Fran, in KC, in Minnesota, and then at the Ravens. So.
All right. I can tell you right now that I do not have a single one of those games.
Okay.
So I'll have some different ones. I think they lose in Cincinnati because they tend to lose in Cincinnati. I know different Bengals teams through the years, obviously, but for some reason they can't play there. Same reason why they can't play in Tampa Bay.
Right. Yeah. That's one of those games where you definitely don't think about it, but they seem to always drop one like that.
Yeah. And ever since 2013, I think the last time they were there, I have a bad feeling in my stomach because I think of Jonathan Franklin. I think of the career that should have been.
Yes.
But and I also have them losing to Washington at home.
Okay.
I feel like it's going to be kind of like a similar situation to that Vikings game last year that they lost. It's probably going to be a little windy. The climate isn't going to be favorable. And Washington is going to have a top 5 defense in football this year that could give Aaron Rodgers problems. So that's probably going to be a little bit of a trap game. And then I have them losing to Kansas City, which there's no shame in that. I don't think. That's probably a potential Super Bowl matchup, and I think they come up just a little bit short. So that's my 3.
No, I get it. And you're playing at Arrowhead against the second best quarterback in the league, of course, Patrick Mahomes. I'm hoping that they're both, we've kind of been robbed as far as that Mahomes-Rodgers matchup.
Yeah, it was supposed to happen 2019, but
it's supposed to happen 2019. It was supposed to happen last year in the Super Bowl, but as we all know, it didn't. So
thanks for that reminder.
So perfect. Yeah, I was curious because I'm always interested. I know, and I hope that fans being back in US Bank, that was kind of my thing. It's going to be freaking crazy playing there, and Vikings to me could be if Kirk plays above average, they could be a solid contender as far as being in the playoffs, and obviously it's a division game away. But ultimately, I think when they come back week 16 to Lambeau, I think the second last game we'll take care of them at home. But cool. So you're at 14-3. I'm at 13-4. That's perfect. I'll take both of those. So,
really can't complain with either one.
No, not at all. So for the rapid fire questions, I just went on the internet, checked out some over-unders for the game tomorrow for Packers players, Packers team. I was just going to fire out the line, and you just tell me if it's over or under. That sound good?
Shit. All right. I feel like I got to stretch for this.
You ready to roll?
I'm ready. Let's go.
So Packers total points over under 26.5.
Over.
Perfect. Rodgers over under 275.5 passing yards.
Under.
Bold. I like that. Rodgers over under 2.5 passing touchdowns.
Over.
Yep, I'm right there with you. Rodgers over under a half of an interception.
Under. Of course.
Right? Aaron Jones over under 60.5 rushing yards.
Over. No. I'll take over. Not by much though.
Like 65, 70 maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe like 65 rushing yards, 20 receiving yards, 30 receiving yards.
Yeah, he'll come close to like 100 scrimmage yards overall. But like we said before, I think they get that rotation kind of going.
Set early. I agree. Devontae over under 88.5 receiving yards.
Under.
Under. That's right there. And I'm under with you too, obviously. You got MVS, you got Tanyan, you got Lazard, you got, Aaron Jones, everybody out of the backfield.
Yeah. And if I have Rodgers throwing for under 275, then
yep.
Yeah.
That's a perfect. So that really about does it, man. I just want to hop on, chat with you, and it was fun. But before we call it, where can the viewers find you at so they can check out the work you're doing?
Right here where my name is, it's Zachariah J. 15 months now with that account. Knock on wood again. And I also I also want to thank you too for all those times I came back. You helped me kind of like
Of course.
get my numbers up a little bit. You were really generous about that. So I appreciate that.
The least I could do. And if it ever happens again, I got you. And if something comes down the road where you need something, you just reach out, and likewise, I'll do the same.
I appreciate that a ton, man. And if you ever want me back on, you know where to find me. Just shoot me a message.
Yep, we'll do this again. So I appreciate you coming on and look forward to your work as the season begins tomorrow. And the journey to title number 14 starts tomorrow as well. So with that being said, on behalf of Zach and myself, thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you later. Thank you.